look at me. Do you think you're out of tune?
Short films offer some of the most impactful, sharp, and thought-provoking experiences out there. Through a compact, sometimes single-frame format, they can last less than a minute, but they remain with you forever. If you are like me, time is a precious commodity, and despite my deep love for film, I don't always have the time to get engrossed in a full-length feature. So sometimes a short film is the answer. Whether you want something to watch on your daily commute, to keep that letterbox streak, or you're simply too tired to sit through a full feature before bed, a short film is the perfect fill for these moments. Unless that short film is lights out, then you might end up staying up later than you bargained for. But I can almost guarantee by the time you have sat down, scrolled through Netflix, and decided what to watch, you could have watched at least 2, maybe even 3 of the short films I'm going to recommend to you. Every film used to be short. Before these elaborate, sprawling epics we have today, most films started with one scene and one idea. And most short films today retain that pure sense of urgent delivery. Short films don't waste time. It's where everyone starts. All of your favorite directors have made short films, and it's great to go back and visit the origins of the masterpieces you love today by seeing the foundations of their ideas. And whether you want to become a filmmaker, have a deeper understanding of film, or you just want to watch something that's not going to last 90 minutes, I think short films are an essential and sometimes overlooked format in the medium of film. So before we start enjoying some bite-sized nuance, I want to briefly go back to where it all began, to 1894. The man you are looking at is Fred Ott, and this is his Sneeze. Directed by William K.L. Dickinson, this is one of the few Thomas Edison kinetoscope films. It is 5 seconds long, and it is now over 130 years old, which means this moving image is now older than the oldest human has ever been. Sure, it's silent, there's no plot, and well, it's over in a sneeze, but it's a fascinating relic at the dawn of film. And it tells you all the information you need to know in less than 5 seconds. And then we have I'm Not a Robot, the 2025 Oscar-winning short film about a person that constantly fails capture tests and wonders if they're human. It's incredible just how far we've come. So to hopefully entice you into watching some more short films, I've picked 10 that are from different styles, genres, forms, and lengths to show you just how effective, wonderful, and inspiring this format can be. And just so there's not any confusion, short films, as classified by the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, are an original motion picture that has a running time of not more than 40 minutes, including all credits. So, with that out of the way, let's get started. And I'm going to start with my favorite short film, which is an animated film called The House of Small Cubes, or in French, La Maison en Petit Cube. This 12-minute 2008 Japanese animated short film tells the story of an old man that after a flood has to keep building new levels to his home to stay dry. This film is a beautiful reflection on life and the depths of the past. It's simple, it's moving, and it touches on something we can all relate to as we grow older. There is a serenity in the loneliness here that suddenly gets submerged in an overwhelming flood of memories. Even the animation feels weathered, aged. It's gently devastating, with an elegance that only animation can provide. There is no dialogue, just the gentle ripples of water and a subtle score. No matter how much you want to go back to keep diving, the tide is always rising. This has stayed with me since I saw it for the first time earlier this year, and it's always the most simple films that hit the hardest. And this one goes deeper than it does appear on the surface. I strongly recommend checking this one out. So my next recommendation is from 2016, and it's the 6-minute comedy short film, Stand By. This takes place entirely in a police car. Perched on the dash, we witness over a number of days, weeks, months, or the interactions that take place between two officers. It's a story about friendship, routine, connection, and told rather brilliantly through sharp editing and clever use of time. It's a film that has a surprising weight to its brief 6 minutes, but I think it offers a fantastic example of swift storytelling. And I wanted to put it on this list because it shows you just how effective short films can be at building a rapport and a relationship with characters in such a small time frame. And it's funny. So definitely give this one a go if you want to laugh with a bit of soul behind it. Okay, so now let's take it back a bit. No list would be complete without the 1943 14-minute classic, Meshes of the Afternoon, This film is an experimental wonder. It's a fractured dream with expressive, striking compositions. There is so much to uncover, so many layers to this film. It's an internal struggle, a nightmare, an endless loop, and an exploration of the self. Its legacy and influence cannot be overstated. The cloaked figure with the mirror face is iconic, and for a silent film, there is so much emotion and tension. If you watch close enough, you'll pick up where it's going, but I'm not going to spoil anything here. And because this film was originally completely silent, many artists have created their own music for it, which really makes this an interesting rewatch with different scores. This really is one of the most essential short films out there, and a must-watch for anyone deeply interested in film. Now let's talk about Whiplash, my next recommendation. This is the famous 18-minute short from Damien Chazelle. Now, the reason I played that clip at the beginning of the video is because this film won the jury prize at Sundance Film Festival in 2013. And because of that, he was able to get investors to make the full feature. The short film is just an excerpt of the full script, and I think it's a great example of a director's vision and an inspiring example of the power of a short film. Obviously, I highly recommend the feature film if you haven't seen it, but this short film still carries a lot of the tension, fear, and anxiety that makes it such a compelling 18-minute ride. This film's opening shot and subsequent minute tells you everything you need to know about the character and story instantly. The writing is sharp, and of course, enough praise can't be given to J.K. Simmons for his brutal performance in this. This one is fascinating, even just to witness the prototype of a masterpiece. And my next recommendation comes from the short film giants, Pixar. I'd be very surprised if you haven't seen one of their many excellent shorts, but my favorite has always been Geri's Game, the 1997 short, which was their first to be focused on a human character. And yes, that character does appear again in Toy Story 2. And this one is just charming. It's funny, it's neat, and is there really many better ways to spend 4 minutes? Focused on a man playing chess with himself, this is all the goofy twists and turns, with some great editing and fun voice work. There really isn't much to say, but I strongly recommend going down the rabbit hole of Pixar shorts. Next, let's go for a slightly longer short. The Red Balloon is a 1956 French short film that clocks in at 34 minutes. And it follows the story of a boy and a sentient red balloon. Set to a backdrop of post-war Paris, it features beautiful cinematography. Films from the perspective of a child always manage to capture a sense of exploration and intrigue, and this film does that really well. It has a score that's used sparsely, but when it's there, it's wistful. And the last few minutes of this film are pretty stunning, with possibly my favorite shot of all the films in this list. It's just an all-round pleasant experience, and the colors are great. You really can't go wrong with this one. But what if you want something a little bit more thought-provoking? Well, my next recommendation is World of Tomorrow. And this is a modern classic, an existential journey from the perspective of a little girl being shown her own future. On the surface, you might think this is a simple, crude 2D animation, but it's a stark contrast to the depth of its story. It's filled with childlike wonder, 1,000,001 questions, and is at times surprisingly bleak and melancholy. And it's also completely hilarious. I do think the animation is pretty dizzying, and it opens up to some incredible sequences. This is one I don't want to spoil, but it will have you asking yourself questions, some of which you may not even want to consider the answers for. This film is the first of 3 parts, and this is an incredible sci-fi journey, worth every second of the 17 minutes you need to watch this. So I alluded to my horror pick earlier on in the video, and that's Lights Out. Lights Out is a 3-minute nightmare that has such a basic, primal fear of the dark, and it's presented in a truly chilling but simple way. With a flick of the switch, a figure is seen down a corridor, but when the light's back on, nothing is there. This will send shivers down your spine and keep your head hidden under the covers, and certainly not one to watch if you're sleeping alone tonight. This was later developed into a feature film similar to the success of Whiplash. This didn't win the competition it was entered in, but instead went viral online. The strength of this one is that the premise remains with you long after its 3 minutes is up. If you're brave enough to stare into the dark, this one's for you. Next is another 3-minute marvel. This is The Black Hole, and it's a great example of taking one clever idea and running with it. It is a curious film with some obvious life lessons set to the constant sounds of a photocopier. It's funny, and it just gets straight to the point. And sometimes that's all short films need to do. This is just a great example of a premise that works wonders. And finally, I want to finish with another one of my absolute favorites. Emilie Muller. This 20-minute short film from 1993 tells the story of a woman who attends an audition and is asked to go through the contents of her bag. And that's really all there is to it. Yet it's a captivating 20 minutes with great acting, great writing, and of all the films on this list, I'm pretty confident this is the one you might want to rewatch immediately. The joy of this film comes from knowing nothing about it, so I'm going to stop my description there. And with that, that's my 10 recommendations to dive into the world of short films. I would love you to watch just even one of the films I've recommended here, and the great thing about shorts is that they can be found fairly easily these days here on YouTube or Vimeo. I've made a little playlist down below. There's roughly 25 or so films on there. Most of the films I've shown clips of or talked about in this video, you can find on that playlist and watch in full, but there is simply too many short films to mention, and I couldn't possibly let this video reach feature length. So that's all from me. I'm just starting out my YouTube journey, so if you enjoyed this little foray into short films, please do consider subscribing and leave a comment and let me know what your favorite short film is. And with that, all that's left to do is to thank you very much for watching.